All right. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another Let's Play Short with Little Mac, who would be me. This is a game I supported a long time ago when it was early access. If I remember correctly, it started off as a mobile game. I did not play it on the cell phone, but I did pick it up on the computer, and I haven't played it in about 2 years. In fact, when I did purchase it, it was, in my opinion, pretty much a complete game. But the developer or developers obviously have a passion for it because over the years, I don't know how much the base game has changed, but they've given a lot of different ways to play. If you're not familiar with the game, it's kind of neat. You play as the virus, or well, you don't have to be a virus. You play as the disease that take on many forms. And let's say we'll go and get started while we're doing this. And your job, I mean, it's a little it's a little morbid, but your job is to essentially wipe out the human population. And apparently, the developers did a lot of research uh, with professional prevention control, Center for Disease Control, and all that stuff to find out just how a virus would spread realistic, or how a disease would spread realistic and planned responses to that disease, and kind of incorporated into that. So when you start the game off at first, you have to be a bacteria, and you kind of work your way down the list. I got down to, so they've added a few since I've been here, which are more for not comedic value, but just to keep things, I guess, just change it up a little bit. So they got the necrovirus, which is essentially you turn people into zombies. So some of these are real. So when you start talking bacteria, viruses, I mean, they're potentially real world diseases that we have we do. We have real world response plans for, and some of them are a little kind of silly, like the simian flu, which increases ape intelligence. So uh, you kind of get the gist. I want to. All right, so I've already got a gold for a virus. Bacteria as you see, each disease has its strengths and weaknesses, and just like in the real world. So bacteria, it can get defeated pretty easily with antibiotics. But what we're also learning is they're very adaptable. So a lot of antibiotics that used to take care of a lot of bacterial diseases don't work anymore. And the scary part is we're getting to a point where some bacteria are not only becoming resistant to the real, and I'm talking real world here, to the real, or to the everyday antibiotics, but these reserved kind of superbiotics that were held for emergencies, some are starting to become immune to those as well. So it's interesting. It's a little scary too to think about what could happen as things we take for granted, like the ability to defeat bacteria, may become problematic again. So parasites, I think we know what those are. Those are pretty nasty creatures. I'm sure you're aware of what they do. The Nurex worm, that's another one of the for fun ones. Those don't actually exist. It's like a worm in your brain, and you could take control of the people. All right, I'm sorry. I'm trying to talk, and I want to just describe the game real quick. The reason I haven't quite gone is I'm trying to figure out which one I want to do. I want to go, I think. Let's just keep it simple, because if you do play through, this will be what you'd need to start with if you've never played this before. As you can see, I've unlocked all the plagues. So let's just start with the simple one. This will be if you play through what your first experience is going to be. Zero gene type. Okay. All right. So insert gene. As you can see, a lot of stuff starts off locked. Oh, that's right. I'm remembering now. So as you reach certain achievements in the game, you saw I have a couple of you can look. I've got a couple achievements on my Steam account. What it does is it gives you kind of little bonuses that you can pick at the beginning. So I haven't gotten a lot. A lot's still locked, but let's see. All right, increases the chance of your plague mutating, which is it's good. You want your plague to mutate because essentially that's its ability to change. And so every time, and even like the real world, every time us when we're trying to, handle the disease, if it consistently changes, that obviously makes it a lot substantially harder. Increase your chance of, and there might be a reason for that. Okay, so one is, this might be just to make the game harder. To be perfectly honest, your plague is harder to cure. So we'll play through it. We'll go through it as we play. Increases the chance of the plague spreading by land. This is a big one, spreading by air, because that's really, I mean, if you think about it, we've reached, in the last 50 to 100 years, it's the first time in human history where there's really the potential for a disease to affect the worldwide population because of airplanes and just the way we travel. Now, can I pick just one, or can I? Okay. Oh, that's right. That's right. So you can pick one from each category. So I can't do anything with this one because I don't have a category for it. All right. Increase the chance of your plague mutating. Let's insert that one. Much more interested in. Well, here's a strategy I'm going to try. I always pick this one because you really want it to spread by air. But as you're going to see, you start off in one place and you have to spread. In the late game, it's kind of this exponential thing. It starts off growing slow. So I think by increasing the chance of it spreading by land, and then that's going to cause those airports to get infected anyway. So why don't we try that one? And I'm just kind of curious how that goes by. Okay, plagues work pretty well in urban environments without the bonus. Just a heads up, just like in real life. Oops. But let's just, for whatever, let's just give it a blanket minor bonus everywhere. I think that's the best thing. And I can't do anything with this, so let's keep going. So here's just the different statistics. It's been a while since I played. I think I've done it on Brutal. Only on the rarest occasions do I really get into the Mega Brutal difficulty, because I know some people really enjoy it. They find that hardcore experience fun, which is hey, to each their own. But for me, I don't. What's the point of playing a game if it's just going to frustrate me? So right now, I'm just going to stick on normal. I'm not going to enable any cheats. What are we going to name our plague? How about all right, Max Menace. Sorry, I'm not as egocentric as I come off sometimes, but I just, why not roll with the themes when I'm thinking at the moment? You are bacteria. You win, you must evolve and spread across the world. All right. Select a country to begin your plague. So, we want, it would be tempting to start in a highly developed place, but the developed places also, they're going to be quicker to kind of identify and maybe be able to do stuff. I kind of like to start in Madagascar because I've learned the hard way, unless they've updated something. There was many occasions where I wipe out the entire world except Madagascar. So I just think starting there. The only problem with starting there is just like people don't travel there much. It's kind of hard to get it spread quickly. And if they close the, so as you see, there's no airport there, and if they close the shipping lane before the disease spreads, it's kind of SOL, but let's go ahead and start there anyways. Okay, so the whole thing is we need to evolve. And as you can see, this is the planes flying. This is the world doing its thing while we slowly just kind of, and each little dot is kind of the disease infecting more people. And one of the challenges here is, so let's go ahead, let's see what we can evolve right now. So you can increase its ability to basically transmission, how it's going to transmit to and from people and animals. The symptoms, so what's it going to cause, what symptoms is it going to cause, and what its abilities are. Now, and as you can see, different things are going to cost a different number of points, and right now we've just got the 1 point. And here's where you got to strike a balance is symptoms. It may at first seem great to have a bunch of deadly. Oh, and by the way, as you click on this, more options are going to expand. So the middle of this, more options will come in for that one. By the way, And I don't know, I forget if they do for this one or not. So anyways, as I was saying, okay, let's pick some things and I'll go back. And I'll talk through it while it's expanding, so. So you can have stuff where it transmits through livestock and bird flu. I mean, you can kind of read what each one does. At the end of the day, though, I like to focus on kind of the ability to survive in different environments as opposed to how quickly it spreads. Is what I look at. And okay, we don't have enough points to do anything. I just realized that. I thought we started off with enough to have 1 point, but apparently we don't. I'm going to keep it on normal speed, by the way, as we're doing this, especially since I'm talking through it. Okay, this is kind of the one thing I kind of don't like about the game. It's not bad. It just kind of keeps you busy, I guess. All right, controlled plague indirectly by evolving it. So you can't tell the plague where to go. You just evolve it. So here's the thing. So you got a plague and you want it to spread. But you don't initially want it to be overtly deadly, because if you've got a very deadly plague that spreads really quickly and kills people really quickly, two critical things are going to happen. The first is you're going to have developed countries putting every bit of research and manpower into curing the disease, and which in real world is obviously a good thing, but in the game, it's what makes the game kind of morbid but interesting. We are the disease. And the other thing is if you kill things, so if you kill what you've infected too fast, you lose the ability to transmit the disease. So as crazy as it sounds, it's better off to have a deadly disease that kills people, I'm talking in real life now, like very rapidly. The reason being is if it kills them so rapidly that basically people get infected and die, it's very difficult for that disease to spread. But if it's a disease that can kind of stay in the system, linger, and then eventually kill you, that's when it becomes. Those are the most dangerous kind, and that's the kind we want to become. One that's easy to transmit and becomes deadly in the long term. And maybe after it's really infected, a lot of people will evolve it to then maybe become increasingly deadly. Okay, so here's what we're gonna find out though. So it's infecting more people, but we haven't sent it anywhere yet. As you can see, the world's not really worried about it. Okay, so now we can start evolving a little bit. So okay, so this is important, especially in ship transmissions, which is what we're really going to need right now. So, especially in human environments and ship transmissions. So, can we evolve? Let's evolve it again, because that's going to be the primary means in which we're going to need to transmit. Yeah, this is pretty crucial, because at the end of the day, if you're weak against any one climate, I mean, think about it. If we're trying, the goal is to wipe out the world. As I said, morbid. But in order to do that, the virus can't, or the bacteria can't really be weak against anything. So I don't want to have a lot of symptoms right now. I think at some point it starts making you have symptoms, if I recall correctly. But right now we don't want symptoms. We want to just silently infect as many people as we can without them even knowing it, because they're not having symptoms. Alright, so this is going to be kind of a hard one to keep talking through if we stay on, but I don't want to speed it up. Just I would normally if I was playing by myself. Alright, there you go. So if you saw the red ship, so that's that. So they were infected, and that red ship indicated that the virus was on the ship and survived. So now, and this is pretty crucial, so that was what we really needed to happen. And now it's hit the mainland. Oh, and now it's hit Australia. And so it kind of starts off slow, but as you're going to see, it grows exponentially, and things can get pretty bad pretty quick. So see that? Yeah, I mean, just look how quickly. So Madagascar. This is basically, this line is blue is healthy for Madagascar, red is people infected, and then if it turns black, that's the percentage, that's the population that's dead. All right. What do we have? We've only got 6. We only have 6 evolutionary points at the moment, though. Alright. So, as I was saying earlier, the reason I picked Madagascar is, unless something's been changed in the program, I think since I played this, I think almost 2 years ago, it was very common for people to be able to play and get the entire world okay, but Madagascar would still manage to live, because at some point, you know, the population starts shutting down, or, you know, the humans start shutting down seaports, airports, and stuff. And once the seaports shut down, if Madagascar hasn't been infected, it's impossible to infect it. And it is, I believe, so it is one of the few and only places, you got the Philippines here, you got a few islands here, that does not have an airport and is not land connected to anywhere else. And that's true here as well, and here, but if you look, if I recall correctly, it's just more frequent for boats to hit these islands, whereas it's not quite as frequent here unless the developers change that. Alright, let's see, what can we do now? So, transmission, let's increase our transmission. Alright, well, okay, this is, alright, now I just realized, so this is part of the problem. It's not spreading fast because it's in Saudi Arabia, which is an arid climate. So let's make it more effective in arid climates. And we'll see how well that works for us. And there's not exactly a time limit, I don't think, in the sense that eventually there is once the world detects the disease, and the longer you go on, even if you stay just in Madagascar, the more likely they're going to decide to do something about it. But the real timeline that you're dealing with is once they really start to want to do a cure, you have to basically defeat them before the cure happens. And what's kind of neat about this too is it's not like they just decide to do the cure and this goes up in a linear fashion, because at first they detect it, and if the virus doesn't seem that threat, or if I say virus, I mean that disease and interchangeably, because we're dealing with a bacteria, and the reason that's not important but relevant is that if you choose a virus, it's different than a bacteria, and in real life and in the game behaves differently. So just if I actually said the wrong thing, I mean disease. I'm just talking about. Yeah. Okay, so see, maybe we don't want it to evolve on its own so fast, and you got to pay to de-evolve stuff. So sometimes it's going to get a symptom that you don't want it to have, and you actually got to pay to bring it back if you can. So if irritated stomach lining leads to discomfort and slight chance of infection when kissing. So it increases our infectivity a little bit with not overtly severe symptoms. So that's all right now, but as you move down here, the symptoms become more and more overt, which raises concerns more and more. Okay, with this being a bacteria, certainly need to make it resistant to antibiotics, but for right now, let's evolve. Just make it more capable of surviving in any kind of environment right now. But next time I'll probably work on the antibiotics. Okay, which is kind of good. It didn't cost us money, but as I said, what's evolving is symptoms, and the reason for that is if it didn't make you evolve it, you might not ever evolve it, and then so it's going to naturally get more severe as time goes on. And as I already said, the more symptoms, the more likely it's going to get noticed. When it get noticed, they're going to evaluate it for how deadly it is. If it's not deadly, they're still not going to worry about it too much until it really starts affecting the population, and then they'll kind of say, well, it's not deadly, but like half the planet's infected. We need to do something about it, and then that's when they start shooting for a cure. All right, so Madagascar is the first to instruct doctors to begin reaching a cure for Max Menace. Without greater funding, it is expected to take a long time. So this is the funding chart, which is kind of neat. So here's a list of all the countries, or the countries that are infected. Here's all the ones that are healthy, and here's all the ones that the entire population has been. And 174 years near today's until completion, based off the number of countries submitting. And Madagascar, not only is it the only country, but it's not exactly technologically advanced, so it's going to take it a while. So, but if this were America, and this is why you don't always, you don't necessarily want to start in the high-tech areas. It's going to contribute a lot more to the ability to spread the disease. Okay, we just checked that out already, so. Okay, Russia's got it, so. All right, so as you can see, it starts off a little slow, but when it really starts to get going, it gets going, and that's why I wanted to. That's exactly why I wanted to increase, its survivability, because essentially, at this point, it can survive in any atmosphere. If we really want to specialize it, you can specialize it over here. But I've typically found this is enough. Though I may, with it being a bacteria, we may look at researching antibiotics. But for right now, it's we're progressing okay. And off the top of my head, I know the red ones give you DNA points. I am forgetting exactly what the orange ones do. All right, so as you can see, all of a sudden, you get little points every time it spreads, is I think what it is. And I think that's the red ones. And the orange ones, I think, are more kind of they keep going. Maybe I'm trying to remember. All right, so as you can see, things are really okay. So and what this is, it's just kind of a clever way of kind of telling you, kind of adding some atmosphere. But the most important thing it's telling us is they're as a world, they're still not worried about us as the disease. And now we got some pretty serious points. So more bubbles popping up. So, yeah, I don't know. I still haven't figured out what the difference, what those orange ones do. It may give you points. I may be missing it, but okay. So we're spreading pretty good. I do want to at least class 1 and 2 biotics, yes. Okay, not worried about research speed right now. 3 and 4 biotics. And the crazy thing is this is actually happening in the real world right now, which is kind of freaky. But, anyways. I think we're transmitting okay right now, I'm thinking. And here's the, I mean, if you know stuff about the real world, you understand, you can actually apply that logic to the game, which is neat. So, okay, it's going to increase its ability to spread, but blood-to-blood contact, I mean, how often does that really happen to your average person? I mean, it may increase it a little bit. Now, mosquitoes, mosquitoes are, if they're carrying a deadly disease, there's a lot of, it's hard to do anything about it. So, especially in hot climates. So, but the thing is it does, in terms of game mechanics, it kind of uses it to focus in on spreading in certain areas, which it's pretty much going to do anyway. So I don't want to use points there. I'm still going to wait on this. It's going to evolve on its own, and right now we just want to spread. We don't want to kill anybody. So for right now, I'm going to keep our points. Let's just reserve our points for right now. And get some more. Alright, so let's see. Alright, at this point, New Zealand and Philippines are really the only thing I think we need to be concerned about. Because once it hits a country, it fairly effectively hits landlock. It's just like real life. You know, it's fairly plausible to shut down seaports and, to an extent, keep people from crossing the ocean and stuff. Though really, the game treats it like it's impossible. But if it were impossible, we wouldn't have a drug problem like we do. I don't think so. All right, now we're really picking up some points here. So yeah, and as you probably can tell, it kind of keeps you busy. But those little bubbles aren't bonuses. I mean, they're pretty necessary to evolve the disease. Oh, interesting. USA president's fallen ill. Okay, well, they haven't really done much with the cure yet, I don't think, right? Yeah, they're at 0%, so there's no point in doing that now anyways. That doesn't mean we won't do it later. Okay, I want it to be more survivable on ships, because we still need to infect those people. Okay, so let's just go that. I mean, we're making this pretty, pretty darn... I like, as I said, I like to focus more on research that helps us everywhere, as opposed to specializing in a location. And the big reason why you want the ships, in particular, is, as I said, it's the little islands that tend to hold out at the very end of the day. All right, the ultimate infectious disease. Nice. Okay, so check. I want to see if there's any. All right, so we've infected and kind of the hardest part of the game is infecting everybody. You know, with the bacteria, it's a little easier. So just, you know, once again, if this seems really easy, it's because it's on the first pathogen. As you progress down the tree, things become a lot more complex. As they behave in different ways, they have different strengths and weaknesses, and some of them require a lot more thought. So what we want to do, I'm just going to keep building up our power, because what I'm hoping, it looks like we're infecting the world pretty quickly now. So once the entire world is infected, and this is why you don't want it to be overly deadly, because you don't want to kill anything before, or kill the entire population before everybody's infected. So the real primary first goal is to get the entire population infected. And once that's happened, then you just ramp up the deadliness, and it's kind of sayonara from there. And see, this is what I'm saying. So they're realizing it's a problem, and they're worried about it, but it doesn't appear dangerous. And that's why this is, you can see now, it's finally starting. It's starting to go up. At 3%, it's starting to go up. And another neat thing is after as the symptoms go up, a lot of the symptoms, one of the secondary effects is, it, you know, as scientists become infected, they become less capable of doing a cure, which is interesting. All right, we want to pop their research. I'm not quite sure. All right. It's just funny. So now they're trying to limit it. It's like a little too late. Yo. It is, as I said, it's only funny because it's a game. Obviously, it wouldn't be funny if this were real. It is a fairly morbid game, but you know, deep down, at the end of the day, it's only a computer game and it's only numbers. So, you know. Okay. I mean, really, we'd probably be safe if we started ramping up the killing now, but, you know, just in case. Alright, and we've got plenty of points to do that. So it is looking like almost the entire world is infected. Now, the research is progressing fairly fast, though. So, we're waiting on Iceland, Greenland, and Angola. Alright, let's see. So Iceland would be cold, correct? I just want to make sure this week. I want to go and make sure we finish. That cures now. Now it's moving a lot quicker than it was earlier. So let's withstand cold. And withstand hot. Okay, I probably didn't need to do all that, but I just, better save it. Sorry, let's get the virus going. Just finish infecting the world. Everybody needs a little bit of Mac in them, right? Alright, that was a bad joke. That was a horrible joke. Sorry. And it didn't come off, actually, yeah, I didn't mean that sexually either, by the way, even though now that I'm thinking about it, it came off that way. I'm not going to edit it out, though. I am who I am. Sometimes that's being a little bit... Alright, let's see. Can we still pop it? Alright, I'm trying to verify we've got everybody infected just for my own peace of mind. We do. Alright, so... there's a lot of things you can do. It's usually best if you want to kill everybody to just kind of walk down one. What is this telling us? Those are the abilities that I said. Right now we're not lethal at all, so obviously we need to change that. Symptoms. We've already progressed down this path. So, and as the deeper you go here, the more severe this stuff is. So, arterial membranes break down, causing rapid internal bleeding and death. All right, so here's we're gonna start. Like, severe loss of blood volume causes oxygen deprivation, loss of consciousness, and death. Alright, we like that one, correct? Okay, this is the... And I forgot, I remember each path kind of has a little thing. Like, I believe this path over here is more towards, reducing the effectiveness of the cure. Okay, why this is important is that basically means even though it can be fatal, it's not super fatal. As they can't function independently, that means that infected researchers are going to lose their ability to come up with a cure. Okay, so we've lost some DNA, but okay, we've definitely increased the lethality. Life in New Zealand is beginning to break down due to max menace. Cure research is starting to slow. So as the disease does stuff, the ability to cure the disease goes down as well. First death in Argentina. Bad luck or the beginning of something terrible. There we go. So the entire planet's now infected. So we want this number at this point to hit 0 and this one to match what that was. So I hope I gave you enough time to read that. If not, you want to go back and pause it. Essentially, it said there's two ways to do it. You can increase the effectiveness of the cure, or I mean, of the effectiveness of the disease to kill, which is gonna, be effective, but that's gonna make it more obvious what's going on. But since it's pretty, I think they already kind of know what's going on. I'm not worried about it. And a more slower way to reduce the cure effectiveness without causing as much concern is to increase resistances. If I recall correctly, at some point I think you do stop getting DNA points, or they, it starts off slow, then you get a whole bunch, and I think it goes down again. You still get some, but it's not like before where we were, we're out getting, just getting them one after another. All right, so as you can see, this is rapidly. So I think you get points as things get infected, and then you get points as people die. Is I think kind of what happens. So the faster you infect people, and the faster you you kill people, the faster you get points, and of course, the faster you get points, the faster you can speed up that process. So, all right, let's see. Long. Okay, so I think this string is more for spreading the disease, actually, but. So you guys can kind of read that. No, I don't want to devolve it. All right, I'll kind of click real quick on each one. If there's something you really want to read, as I said, you just you can always pause it. But I don't like to sit on stuff too long for people who aren't as interested in reading. And it just I don't like. I try not to read stuff and just it just slows the video down. And I know when I'm watching other people do Let's Plays, it's just not as interesting. I mean, it's just kind of like, I try to keep things flowing. This is also why I just kind of keep talking. And sometimes I just talk right what's on my mind, because in a moment like this, there's not much else to talk about. So I just babble. All right.